it's Shabes, and welcome to another edition of AniTube Digest, where we go over the best and not so best anime YouTube videos to come out this week from the 25th of August to the 30th of August. I'm so rusty at this. Oh my god. Thank you everyone for who participated in a guest digest this summer. I really appreciate it. I was just really surprised. It was always really surreal seeing someone upload and different people, and it was great seeing everybody. Some of them in person, which was like really great, and the creativity and the various tastes and approaches to digest was interesting. I was thinking of doing a digest, but people were very nice enough to cover the previous person's digest, which was kind of interesting. Kind of an unspoken tradition in that way. So I'll be sure to do Hayden's. But first for the video that I thought was not good. And you know, I always have to couch not goods and like, yeah, anyway, this is just weird, dude, actually. So I saw this uploaded by Sentai Filmworks, like the anime licensing the company, and they put out some cool stuff like Sentai at Home and like their directs and some of the podcasts they've been doing recently are really interesting with various voice actors and stuff. And I thought that this was like one of the voice actors or something, but this is just like a stand-up comedian that they're doing like these shorts, and they remind me a little bit of RDC World, right? Where, you know, or like people getting kind of doing more anime related comedy, I guess, and skits and things like that, or like Caleb City. But this is like 3 minutes of the routine, and it's 3 episodes too. There's already 3 episodes out in 1 week, and I put the first episode in. I watched all of them, and it's really weird. It's just sort of like baffling of like, why are we doing this? Where is this coming from? And don't get me wrong, I like creativity and kind of shaking things up and doing different things. But this is just very unexpected. So anyway, so this isn't like one of their employees or something, or like a voice actor or something. This is just like a stand-up comedian guy, and his stand-up page is linked in the description, and like that's like the only thing in the description, by the way. And then like the credit, they do like obviously this is supposed to be playing off of Seinfeld with the logo, and yeah, it is. He has literally a character in this called Newman. He's playing most of the characters. It's like 2 episodes is like him back and forth with another guy, with him and himself, but 2 different characters, and then he's like this Newman guy at the very end as like a twist or something. I think this is like actually kind of an ongoing narrative. Like it actually continues into the next one. But the first 2 episodes barely have anything different from each other, and then the 3rd episode is like him going on this date with this woman, and like the thing isn't that she was an anime fan like the first 2 like so this is like really hard to describe, and I guess I shouldn't just like, may as well just watch the videos, but like I don't know what's going on. I mean, it's coherent in that way, but it's more like, why does this exist? What is this? And like the video is like stuttering. I don't know if they exported it in the right frame rate or they filmed it weird. I don't know what the heck happened, but like the video itself is like stuttering, and it's like not very well produced in that way. And so it's like he has the credits at the end, and it's just his name or whatever as executive producer, and that's just like the tease of like, you know, the way Seinfeld episodes end, they kind of like, and that's it with the executive producer label. But like, so there's no credits on this, so I don't know who actually was in charge of making this video itself. But the video is weirdly choppy, like stuttering, like lagging. I don't know if other ways to describe it. And the audio mixing is really not great. I hate to be like nitpicking on the audio mixing, right? But like, I had to put it on full volume to hear what he's saying, and then like the music or whatever sound effects he has, which by the way are very tacky. I'm sorry, it just blares. It's like, what and it's really weird. I'm like, what's going on? And I could be like, it's not funny, right? I mean, I didn't find it that funny. I think the only anime related thing that this is trying to do is like the main character Shinedu, he's trying to go on this date with this girl who loves anime, and they're doing the Seinfeld thing. Is like, you're an anime liker, you're an anime lover, and I like the basis of that. But the only joke, literally the only joke, is that if whether or not he can name drop anime, like if he can say something other than Dragon Ball Z, or like something that wasn't on Toonami or something, and then like he has like a little playful thing in the second episode where he starts saying these things and they coincidentally happen to be anime names, and they happen to be kind of obscure ones, like some that I don't even, is that actually a name for one of these anime, is like that kind of obscure. And it's just like, you don't get it. I'm sorry, it's not even, you're not even a baseline of like anime liker. I can't even tell that, to be honest with you. And it was even confirmed even more when I was just like, oh, this is just some stand-up guy. This is just some guy that doesn't even work for Sentai exactly. Like, he's not like an ADR producer or a voice actor or like in their company or something. It's just some guy that, I guess, I don't know, he reached out to them or they hired him. I don't know what this is. What is this? It's just like baffling. It's just baffling. I'm down for creativity and kind of different stuff and whatever. And that's why I clicked on it. And I was curious. I was like, oh, I'm interested. And I like other creators like Caleb City or RDC World. But what? It's really weird. And the third episode is also just kind of awkward. And again, the mixing is like, it's like outdoors. So there's no mics and you can't even hear anybody. And not even in like a good way, not even like, cause it's very dialogue based. And I don't know. And also the fact that it was trying to ape off Seinfeld, it made me be like, I just want to watch an episode of Seinfeld now. Like, come on. You know, it's like, man. Yeah, that was really bizarre. I'm sorry. It is what it is, I guess. Yeah, enough as videos I thought were decent. Pretty good. And we're going to start with Hayden's AniTube Digest that is an hour and 42 minutes. And then at first I was like, I don't even think I've ever put out a digest that long. And I have. It's 2 hours about the November thing. Fucking 2 hours. I mean, and I also do the same strategy that Hayden does here, where he records his impressions right after the video, and then he just kind of organizes them later into like the worst. Except what I do, I did it kind of chronologically, and I didn't have a best or worst category. He actually did just kind of reorient them into like the worst ones he watched and the best ones he watched in that way. And so it felt very erratic. You could definitely tell. One note I really want to make sure I say, and I was worried I was going to forget it because it kept coming up, and I was like, oh, I hope I remember to say this on Digest. Hayden, why didn't you edit any of the audio? Like, you left in several moments of you being like restarting your sentence, and maybe that was to try to like keep up the with Digest. I'm kind of stuttering and repeating myself, whatever. But it was literally like you were on a script. It's like you were reading a script, and you had to say the same thing, and you had to say the same thing. And I was like, okay, just cut that little part out, just that little thing. Especially, you can do all the cuts you want, given the format that you did without any face cam. The reason I can't do those sorts of cuts is because it would look weird with me filming it like this, right? But you can edit the audio and no one would know. Why would you? I don't know. That was just like frustrating to me when you were really going in on some of these videos. Like, it's like 40 minutes of not good videos. And some of these videos, you put them on not good pretty much because of one reason for some of these. It was like, you mentioned the Anime News Network video. That's like, it was a good video, but all the audio's in one channel, so it's unwatchable. I hate to be that guy. You say unwatchable, but it's an audio problem. It's unlistenable. I'm sorry. I hate to be nitpicky like that. But yeah, it was just like, you were saying some of these, going in with a knife and fork on some of these videos and really being critical of them, and then to have that in there, right? And you make the excuse of like, oh, I'm recording from the Hey Pikachu microphone because I think it's funny. And I'm like, that's cool. And that's your aesthetic and stuff. And so I don't want to pick apart any of those sorts of things, but it just was like, it was hard to find the line of what you enjoy and what you would appreciate in videos and what you don't. because like Iris wouldn't actually Sitsnap has made videos about raunchy things that she has to blur the whole video, and the videos available, the full uncut ones on Patreon. And so she's made videos like that, and you gave it a not good because you couldn't get anything out of the content because most of it was blurred. But it's like, I mean, you know, it was like, what are you selling me? He was like, what are you selling me on to your Patreon to watch this unedited video? I don't know. And it's like, that's the thing. Hey, it's you don't know. You would like to see the uncensored. That is exactly what you're paying for, is the uncensored. It was just like, I don't know. It was just like a strange criticism to me. And I mean, also, I did want to like give this as a reason, not a reason, I guess, but just as a thing to mention. I don't know. And this is not on you, of course. You're commenting on, and I think you do a very good job of defending. We put the first video you talked in this video, at least not in your chronological order, but the first video in this video was Anime Back When's response to Smug and Jackass Boy. Which, to be fair, I can imagine him being a little salty of being called Anime Balls Deep because that's what Jackass Boy put. And I think, you know, to be fair, I think that's just Jack's humor, and I don't know if Anime Back When took that the right way. I was disappointed to see that there was some sort of drama that happened and Smug was too harsh, and Anime Back When made this tirade video. I'm kind of happy he unlisted it, but he still has the tweet up, so I can still access it that way. But like, I was, you know, and then to hear about it from Hayden and stuff, I didn't want to like set the record or just take a side any which way. I really like Anime Back When. I like his videos and I like his personality, and like, I can understand him going out like being disgruntled. Although to be fair, I thought Anime Back When was very fortunate that he appeared on so many digests. I was actually really happy because I wanted him to get more incorporated in the community and stuff and get his stuff out there. So I was happy to see his stuff being talked about in multiple digests, right? And he was and then like he was being talked fairly positively in Anime Misfits video. And which I think it was just that one, and then maybe, and then just like both Jack and Smug talk about different videos of his. Maybe some other ones did. I don't know. No, but like, you know, I was just happy to see that. But then to hear that it kind of didn't take it the right way. I'm sorry that happened. I don't know. I just felt like I wanted to address it in some fashion here. That like, I don't want to deal with it. I don't like conflict like this. I'm sorry that Smug. It sucks that Smug. I didn't listen to Smug's critique. I wouldn't be surprised if he was too harsh, and I didn't listen to that big video from Anime Back When. Just I was going to, and I thought I should address it, but then I was like, I actually want to address it in a very neutral, like, we're done. It's also like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago if you count like from Smug doing that in Jackass Boy 2, it was like a while ago. This is just like old tea at this point. It's lukewarm. You don't want to drink lukewarm tea, right? I don't want to just bring it back up, but I am anyway, because I just felt like not bringing it up at all. I was worried it would come off as me like ignoring it or just like turning a cold shoulder or something. But I just want to address that like I love all parties involved. I appreciate Smug and Jackass Boy for doing digests, and I appreciate Anime Back When for voicing his concerns and complaints, even if it may have been a little emotionally charged or something. I didn't watch either of them, so I don't want to, I like the discussions like this, but it's unfortunate that if it got toxic like this, it's unfortunate. I can't do anything to stop any of you from doing that or anything, but I just want to put it out there that I'm aware of it, and it's disappointing. Anyway, stupid big digest hated. It took me forever to get there. No, but it's still, I guess I was doing a lot more complaints about Hayden's diet because I just, there's certain things about it. It was just like really interesting to pick up. It's like, oh, that's interesting. And I guess that makes it a really engaging, constant listen, I guess. The video selection's interesting. But yeah, I mean, I also just like appreciate just how much was put in and like how many channels you ended up featuring, even if some of it was like 30 seconds, right? And a lot of this was like, you made choices that I would judge, but then I was like, yeah, but I did that too. I can't judge. Like, I talk about a video for like 50 seconds and it's like, it just sucks in that, sometimes. But like, still, I'm very happy Hayden did that. And thank you to everyone else. I'm sorry I'm not commenting on your digest directly and making certain points and stuff. But yeah, no, it was I thought Hayden's, particularly his not goods, I thought was just really engaging. Even if I was like very rubbed up against it in some ways. I was appreciative. I thought I saw one comment that was like, it reminded me of like old shaves, and I'm like, yeah, sorry. I can't. I wish I was that hot and bothered and stuff. But also, it's just when I did the Scamboli. I'm sorry, I'm just more introspective. I'm back. I'm happy I'm back. Anyway, I think the reason I was partly don't want to do it is just like I'm worried about those scathing things ending up something like with Anime Back When. I think like with anime, like making that big deal out of it, or Valerix, right? I think that was also another instance of like, oh man, I just don't want them up my ass. I don't want the conflict, dude. If this is what it's going to turn into, I don't want to bother. So I'll just talk positively about a bunch of people's videos, and then if they have a problem, then that's their shit. Like, okay, dude. But yeah, I think that's partly why I've shied away from a lot of not goods, I think, and being as hard lately. But it's cool Hayden still has the guts to still do it in that way. ceicocat, they just followed me on Twitter recently. I was like, oh hey, yay! The beautiful mess of Wonder Egg priority. Just 7-minute rumination of taking to the fact that Wonder Egg Wep didn't deliver, and it, like, honestly, I kind of expected it. Not I kind of expected Wep to do that, honestly. From seeing it, I was like, this gives me Flip Flappers vibes. This is giving me Review Starlight vibes, where really high concept, really interesting, oh my god, the best thing ever. Hold on. Let's hold off for a sec. Let's just wait a few. Let's see where it goes, right? But I'm just really, it's sad that pretty much nobody I know has actually really liked the ending. And ceicocat very openly admits it and comes from it. He's like, yeah, the ending was really not great. But I really liked the introspective take and getting a little peek into her life, how tough her previous year was. And I just appreciate the perspective and not really taking Wonder Egg priority with a knife and fork, really taking it to town, I guess. It's more like an open lament, just like, that's damn, very tactful in that way. Also not too spoilery, which I appreciated. Because like I saw Jeff post this kind of video with like the exact picture too, actually, with pretty much the exact thumbnail. Except he's had like trash fire or something on it. I don't know. And like, I didn't want to watch that one because I just didn't want him constantly shitting on it. It's like, oh, no, but I appreciate this smaller, like, kind of rumination thing. That was really chill, really cool. It's a shorts video from illdie. I like that I'm interested in seeing if he continues pursuing like the shorts, the A and B shorts. I think it's up. He says in the description that like it's a choice because if he made it a full AMV, he would just be showing pretty much the whole short, which is fair. I actually don't remember what this is called, but I remember him talking about it, or maybe I'm wrong. I think it's in the same vein as like I'm sorry. The Treo, the prequel to Redline. I'm sorry. I forget the name of it. Yeah, like, and I think I remember him hearing about that, or maybe it's something different. But I like this. I always love Step on the Gas from Initial D. And the trimming is good too, actually. I'd like to particularly commend that, because I've made something like this where like you take like the song and you kind of truncating it into less than a minute or so. So the song, like the actual stitching and conciseness of condensing that song into the best moments is really stellar in my opinion. Very simple edit otherwise. Not doing a whole lot with like morphing and whatever, but like a couple dip to whites, but pretty much just cuts. But it's pretty cool. And yeah, I just wanted to say that I watched it and I dug it. It was pretty sweet. It's the first installment of Spilling the Milk's live action segments that they filmed at Otakon, that I was at. I wasn't at their Airbnb when they filmed a lot of these, and I don't know if I'll be in. They did film me for something, for like a little cameo thing, but I did meet up with them, and it was great seeing everybody. This anime rhythm game ruined our lives. And talking about and is trying to play a motion game on the Wii with Haruhi Suzumiya. And I'm wondering if like the reason they had problems was that I think they were playing it on a laptop or like an emulator or something. There was just something about it. I was like, is this on a real console? Is that maybe why there's a problem? I don't know. Maybe that's not the reason, but I don't know. They could not play it. They just the whole video is them just trying to figure out how to actually play the game, which is a fun inversion, like kind of subversion of expectations. But also very on brand for them. I don't know. It's not like I can point to another example where this idea they have goes completely off the rails and they just like, oh, well, fuck it. And they'll make a video out of it or somehow. But there's something about it that just seemed like, of course this would happen, right? Where they have this loose plan and then it just doesn't, it turns into something else. And also Steve's there. I just loved the inclusion of Steve, and it's like, oh, also Steve. It's like Steve's the one who figures it out, and it's like, oh, I think I got it. And Eden is like so over it, and then I think Core was even more so over it because he's in it at first, and then just becomes the cameraman after it kind of disappears from the video. Or maybe it was someone else's, but he just kind of disappears at some point. It was just really funny. And then Jack is the one being the one that's really melting down over all this and smacking the egg on his head and very noping out of this. It was just really funny. And it was also funny that they were like, oh, the behind the scenes video is available for patrons, when it's like, this feels like what was there to be cut, to be honest. I just thought that was funny. Yeah, I thought it was a cool salvaging of. I was happy you didn't just scrap the video altogether. I feel like other creators, their standards would be somewhere different, and they'd be like, oh, I can't, they probably just wouldn't go through with it. But like, they really went for it and made it kind of work, and it was just like really funny as in an endearing way. Because I think that the banter that they share on their regular, Discord calls and their antics on their other videos, I think it carries the same energy, but it's just in person and just more like less tangential. I don't know, not tangential, but tangible. Yes. More like, oh, you're physically tactilely there. Oh, you Steve, you try it, and things like that. And less dialogue heavy, I guess, is what I would say. No, but yeah, I really enjoyed this video. It was just really funny, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the live action shenanigans that happen. I checked out Saberspark's video on what the hell is Sailor and the Seven Balls, and I appreciated that he was a lot more transparent about his direction of his channel. Like, he had a lot of jokes about how, oh, what have I done to my channel? I'm just reviewing shitty animation stuff. And it's like, I'm surprised you haven't had that realization for like a year or two. Because like, that's exactly where your trajectory, and it's like, of course you would cover something like this. And he just felt a lot more self-aware than his previous videos. And I liked some of the little vignettes and skits that he was doing where, like, it starts with him being at a daycare, like a fake, like a skit of him and a bunch of YouTubers at a daycare, and mommy YouTube is just like, oh, what did you make today? Oh, that's great. Let me show you on the algorithm. And it's like, oh, what did you make, Saberspark? Oh, what the hell is this? Which is pretty funny. And then also like him talking to the police. There's this skit with the police and stuff like that. It was just really funny. But yeah, I mean, I appreciated that he spent a lot of the video not even about the terrible animation that this is. Actually talking about it. He actually talked more about the context and where it came from, and like the potential person who actually made this, and this whole lawsuit thing, because it reminded me a lot of his previous work. It is work that like got him really popular, and the things that I really liked his stuff for, which is very research heavy and really guiding you through a narrative of the history of something. I think he's really exceptional at that. I think it's easy for a lot of people to just list a couple facts, and it's just really boring, right? But he's really able to make it a narrative, and the delivery of that, it's just always very engaging. And I would be curious to see if he makes those any update videos on his Sony Pictures or Blue Sky or something like that, because I'd love to hear him talk about the cartoon industry or the animation industry now, and how, or the unionization. And I don't know. I just less fun, less like jokey fun things, and more informative and interesting stuff, because I think he's great at it. But like, I would say that overall the video is a little too long, especially like once he's finished summing up the 3 animations and stuff. He really just kind of repeats himself. It was like, what am I doing? You know, and I like it's so bad it's good, and you know, it's like, yeah, it's so bad it's good. That's all you have to say. You don't have to spend 8 minutes saying that it's so bad it's good, please. That was a little long-winded, personally, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting hearing about this, and it doesn't feel as much anime as much as it's just like, oh, it's Goku, and I don't know. It wasn't as like engaging to me as something with that he was actually talking about anime or something like that. I don't know. But it's certainly anime adjacent, so I can definitely still talk about it. Unlike some AniTube Digests where you just talk about whatever video you want. I'm just joking. I'm just joshing. I'm just saying. Yeah, there's a video I'm talking about with study of swords, and you know, I just made the joke about like, videos about that are about not about anime. I mean, he does mention Berserk. He cites an example from Berserk and stuff. So there's something here. I'm just saying. But this is about the postmodern sword, and it's really like his bread and butter. It's like, oh, this is a sword guy, especially when he like lists off some of the academic, like not academic sources, but just like the forums, the various the like that sword enthusiasts are on and stuff. You can tell he really likes swords. And like this particular really passion in this whole object thing, because I can't call it a medium, right? The medium of swords. I don't know what you would call it. But man, no, this was just so interesting, because like I didn't thought of it this hard, this in depth. He was really talking about the abstract concept of what is a toy. Like he's like, I love the start of the video, just like, do you know what a toy sword is? It's like an oxymoron or whatever. And kind of listing off a couple fake swords and stuff. I would say there's moments and places where it was piquing my interest more than others. It was very unbalanced. It wasn't a very straight all the way through. Really loved it, engaged in that way. Certain points where he's like bringing up Star Wars and in the creation of the lightsaber and things like that. And also just like there was a lot of long points where he's reading off a quote, and it reminded me a lot of BreadTube stuff, right? Like ContraPoints does that, Philosophy Tube, I think a little bit of H Bomber Guy, Lindsay Ellis. But it's really tricky to do stuff like that because, you know, obviously reading the whole thing, it can be a little cumbersome. And I think he starts the video with something like that and just reading the entire thing. I think in for example, that first example, right? I don't know if you would want to start a video with a quote like that, and at least the way that you did it, because you didn't have any context for it. There's no hook, right? I think the hook is the quote, but in that case you want to present the quote in a way that's really hooky, I guess. I don't know, not so big. I think the quote was a little cumbersome and having a lot of ideas. I thought the toy sword or the fake sword was a much better hook, and I was like actually starting to really getting engaged at that point. Or you present the quote in some very specific way, which I liked. Some of the quotes that were very staticky and kind of like, oh, something's not right sort of deal. Although I don't actually know where any of those were coming from, like who's saying that. And it didn't feel like that had a resolution. Like you didn't find out at the end. Like it seemed like something that was being teased throughout the video, and there would be some realization at the end, but I don't know if there was one, or maybe it kind of flew over me or something. But like, you know, the uses of, there's points where it just feels I'm turning off and on being engaged, and I'm not like crying over spilling the milk. I'm not like, you know, getting super upset over being disengaged, right? Like I'm disengaged, you know. I'm not like that, but it's just, you know, when you're watching a lot of videos and there's a 24-minute video in front of you, it's just like, yeah, let me check Twitter for a sec. You know what I mean? And that's no disrespect. It's just my patience and my, you know, my attention span, I guess. It's a little shorter than some people because I'm an internet guy, I guess. I just kind of move really fast or whatever. It's hard for me to really sit down still. Like maybe I have ADD or something. Maybe that's it. I don't know. No, but I enjoyed this video though. I thought it was really interesting, and it just felt like a very ethos video for you. You know, so the kind of video you watch from a creator where it's like, oh man, this is what they're all about. You know, it's really rare when that happens, and I think that's really cool. Yeah, I think there's, and I also just love like the actual script. I think is just really well written, and just your dialogue and things like the narration's good. You know what I mean? Like the actual content of it. It's just like the subject matter and it's like the visuals too, which is a lot of stock stuff and is what it is. It's just ebbing and flowing out of like interest, I guess. But I watched the whole thing. It was pretty cool. I checked out a Studio Chojin video for monsters and anime sex in space. Raw. I think Raw is the type of video this is, where it's just a very this particular one, I should just describe this one, but I imagine it is emblematic of the rest of his other Raw videos, where it's very rambly, it's very chill. It feels like commentary over the anime in a way, where he's describing generally what happens, but then he's throwing some occasional, oh, did you know the author did this? Oh, by the way, this is the monster designed by this guy who did this and this. Like throwing in little beads like that, it was really chill, and I just liked the vibe of it, and it just felt like he was really talking to his audience, and I felt like a long-time member of his audience, which is kind of rare, I guess, and it just feels very old school too. There's something about like older YouTube that just like hello and talking very personally and direct. That at least in my main channel, when I do my main videos, I don't know. I just don't have that personally, and I just think that's really interesting and admirable. I also really like his mailbag segment at the end. He's just talking, like he gets like an email or something, and he's talking about it, and just feels very metatextual, talking about the course of his channel and stuff like that. He's like talking a lot about how he hasn't posted this Liger video that he's working on, things like that. But it was just like really down to earth and like, yeah, I'm checking in and like, oh, how's Reverend Paul doing? You know, that's his name. It's cool. And the OVA seemed interesting. It seemed decent. It seemed very like nothing schlocky that like I feel like Bennett would would just like take a giant shit on or something, or Kenny might talk about. And I don't know how Kenny would feel about it personally. But you know, I really like that Reverend Paul here doesn't he feels a little bit like Bennett, but he's not talking down to that. He's not being judgmental very much. He actually really digs it, and he's very like modest. It's like, yeah, it's got decent monsters and decent. It doesn't have to do this whole thing, blah blah blah. And I like that really down to earth and like really bringing it to the anime's level. There's some anime they're not trying to be fucking Akira, you know. They're not. They're just not trying for that, you know. And you can't expect that sort of thing. And I just think that like he really brings it to the appropriate level and talks about it very rationally and fairly, you know, and I just really liked that. So it was a really comfy listen. I mean, you know, it's a watch, right? But there was a lot of it. Is like it just feels like the visuals weren't something that I was immediately grabbed onto personally. It is what it is, you know. But I just liked the feel of it and just like, experiencing it. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Yeah. Okay. And now what I thought were the best videos of the week. I missed that. It's we're going right. It was only been 2 months, I guess. Anyway, of course, Beyond Ghibli's are on here. Wanted to talk about Giovanni's Island: Hope in a Time of Hopelessness. Yeah, I haven't checked this movie out, but I had no idea that it was a wartime thing. Although he says like it's not a wartime movie. I'm like, come on. You introduce it effectively like that, where it's like, here's the setting. It's this island that was at the end of World War II, and the Russians, and I feel like it's post-war is what it is. It's like it happens after the Japanese have surrendered and da 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 da. And then that is a really interesting perspective, and the art style looks really different too. I don't know what it is about it. It doesn't have a very definite like it doesn't have in the same ethos. It's kind of one of those outliers, which is interesting. And I really appreciated that he talked a lot about Kenji Miyazawa's Night on the Galactic Railroad, obviously out of necessity. But I just really liked the discussion of it and bringing it up. I don't know if you've checked out the Gasaparu Sugi movie that you have featured in this video that has the cats and stuff. Uh, Man, I should probably just rewatch it. There's a lot of anime that are really acclaimed and stuff, and I watch them, and it's just kind of okay. That was a movie, it didn't resonate with me much. But it seemed that the passage you cited was very great, and I was just like, man, where is that in the movie? I don't know. There's just something with that particular movie, but obviously this video is not about that movie. I'm just giving my 2 cents, okay? But yeah, it has the same kind of polish and everything. I don't know if obviously Joe's not breaking new ground the way he is with his book video and other things. There was that Kumail or Todd, I don't know if I pronounced that right. His house band. He had a video posting of a cover of Kumail or Todd of the End of Eva theme, and it was really great. And I want to talk about that separately, but no, I was that was interesting. But it's just this more yep, there's another video from him. Yeah, cool. But of course it's still really polished and engaging and makes me really want to check out this particular movie. Really puts it higher on my priority. It was on my plan to watch, but now it's just is what it is. But yeah, great polish as always. Really good stuff. Good to see. Gigguk's video on Evangelion was really good. I was happy with it. I mean, I'm very happy with 3.0 plus 1.0, so any video that's not being a poopy butthole about it is an A in my book. Yeah. There's certain, almost every single video of that was talking about 3.0 plus 1.0 that came out in this week and the previous week, I was very hesitant to click on because I just didn't want a bunch of people complaining about it again. I don't want that I don't want ingesting that. I love the movie. I would actually like to cover my ears and just be I enjoy this movie a lot. I don't need people to point out the fucking flaws in this movie. I have things that I'm not crazy about, but I'm not going to make a video about it. I mean, I actually do want to make a video about it, but something that's not a review, you know what I mean? No, but this was really great. It's a very personal video, and obviously in the same vein of his the anime that inspired me, and he links it at the end of the video with text at the end too, so it's just very in your face, this is in the same vein and stuff. And he says Evangelion's his favorite anime, which is funny because it's yeah, huh? Because it would it has a 3x3, and I think Ava was on there, so fair. But maybe this was maybe he was waning at the time, and he just revisited it, just loved it, because he says that he's I had pretty much given up on it. I was I don't really care if another movie comes out, and it did, and he loved it, and I was yes. The people who love that movie are chads. I'm just saying. Though I can understand it being divisive. I actually just watched it again last night with my roommates, and one of them needed more explanation of a particular character, but loved it still. I watched it the second time and was yep, this is great. I'm enjoying this movie a good deal. Anyway, this is a really emotional video for him, and I really like the clip selection. It's really evocative, as you can do for an Ava video, of course. I liked his rumination on his this AMV that he made, that was out of this really dark place, and it's still up on his channel. I thought that was really interesting. And then just talking about Ava 4.0 in a way that's not trying to be spoilery or really addressing it in a concrete way, but really just how did it affect him? I thought it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I really like seeing videos like this from him, and he can't obviously put this sort of thing out every time, but it's great that he still has something like this that he's capable of, and that he's willing to put out too. Right? It's one thing to be able to do it, and another that's willing to do it. That's oh, would that give me views and stuff, or does it affect my image? Right? Because I think Gigguk's, he's trying to have this image of jokey and really down to earth and everything like that, but also having this really emotional side and showing kind of a darkness and everything, and vulnerable. It was good. It was really good to see from such a big YouTuber too. Yeah. So I almost missed this. I almost missed two videos. Okay, so I just remembered. I saw the post that freaking Oda-chan episode is coming out tonight. Fuck. And I'm recording right now. I hate it. The pains of digest, I suppose. No, but so like most people are quoting this on Twitter, being like, "Oh my God, Yamato," and everything. So this is a One Piece video from the official One Piece YouTube channel. That I'm assuming it's the official one. Scene 2, One Piece Volume 100 / Episode 1000 celebration. We Are One. So this is like a short film that's like shot really professionally and acted very beautifully and like actually good. Like it was like watching this and like seeing the Chinedu thing was literally night and day. And I get it, maybe he's like it's just him or something like that. I shouldn't you probably shouldn't judge the two of them, but it just can't help but think. I'm sorry. But this was just really interesting short story of like this woman who, you know, wants to seek out more in life and has a husband that reads One Piece, a boyfriend that reads One Piece, and they're thinking of getting married, but he's like not very supportive. Or I thought that was, it's weird. I thought it was a like an alternate, like a dream sequence she was envisioning or something. I don't know, but I guess it was real. No, but she like picks up a volume of One Piece, and then yeah, it has this animation with a bunch of characters, not for a lot of female ones like Nami and Nico and Boa, and as well as Yamato, who is a guy. Yeah. But you know, in that same and it's the debut with Yamato and playing having his voice for the first time. And this woman gets inspired by those characters and then decides to move out, and it's just like really professionally made, and just like it was really cool to see that like animation thing. Apparently it was done by different animators, like Umakoshi animated one of the characters. That was really, and like it features different, one of them is like Tate or something. I don't know the background, but Twitter was going crazy. But it's just like I just love seeing this this campaign and this sort of thing happening for anime, I guess, for One Piece, I suppose. And to see it on YouTube is just really cool. I don't know, I just wanted to talk about it. It was just really great. It was really cool to see. It's Kamimashita with Kanaba Effect, talking on his podcast Shitsure. And great interview. I really appreciate these Shitsure podcasts because Kami actually asks very substantial questions. Such as like, you know, why is Kanaba in Japan, and like how did you meet your fiance, and you know, things that I would actually be interested in knowing as well. But like hearing his perspective about YouTube, and it's very cynical viewpoint on it so far at the moment, and how he'd want to redo a lot of videos and things like that. And I liked him talking about his perspective on like Arcada's, like how he started doing videos. He wanted to be like Arcada, and he's like, you know, talking about Arcada's videos was really cool. It was just a very substantive, very informative, interesting, engaging video podcast. It's just a podcast, but I like listening to it a good deal. And it came out like right as I finished watching all my videos for Digest, and I was like, fine. You know, but of course I loved it. It was definitely worth sitting in the extra hour of watching it. It was really cool. I don't have too much else to say about it. It's exactly what you think it is. But again, I just think Kami's dynamics with his guests and being very respectful and asking like really substantiative questions. It's not just like kind of bullshit like my podcast. I feel like I don't know. I want to do better with it, to be honest with you. And well, first of all, I do want to invite more people. But I don't know. I just have to figure that out. Another thing I have to figure out, I guess, but I don't know. It makes me really want to like do better with my own stuff, to be honest. When I'm hearing Kami like talk about, you know, talk to other creators and things like that, and you know, Kami and like I remember when Kami was on mine with T and stuff, and he's like, I admit that I'm more of a listener than a talker, and I'm like, yeah, I guess I'm not the best person to have a guest podcast with when I'm the one that talks too much. I don't know. Yeah, it's difficult, I suppose, but I'm just really appreciative that Kami's able to do something like this and get really good guests too. He's got great taste. Anyway, that was great. And I gotta say, my favorite video this week, that it was my favorite, I just had like a smile on my face the whole time. Was Adam Savage's Tested. I've been subscribed to Adam Savage to Tested just because I was a longtime fan of Mythbusters, and he was making a lot of videos talking about answering various questions about it, and like talking about it very nostalgically and stuff, and it's just really interesting. I just really like the guy, and so he put out his first Gundam build, which is anime related. So yeah, obviously they're not talking about the anime whatsoever. It's just the Gunpla stuff, and I just loved his passion for model kits and his really deep reverence and respect for the thing that he was building, and he's really taken aback and surprised by it. Granted, it is sponsored by Bandai, and they provided the kit to him, and so it's like, you know, you could say that they were, you know, that there's a conflict of interest or something, but like, you know, Adam Savage like knows what he's talking about, and the detail in which he's talking about like why these Gunplas are so interesting and why it's so impressive, and just like the geekiness of it, and you can really tell like the bulk of the video is obviously the building of it, and that really is the major play of these Gunpla. It's not so much the display and having them to put on the shelf or whatever, it's the process of making them, and he just loves it, and he has these various guests that help him build the whole thing, so he doesn't have to do the whole thing himself, and he's able to do it within the span of a day, because it's a very substantial, kind of fairly big, I mean, all things considered, I don't know too much. It seems pretty decently sized. And, you know, just like the joy that came out of that, and the real respect and like really interesting, nuanced observations. Like, look at that. That's so impressive, the way they're able to make those parts, or it seemed that the kit was made for the consumer to enjoy the building of it, and rather than the enjoyment of having the object. Like the making of it isn't the it's not the middleman to get to the fun part. The fun part is the making of it, and you could really tell that in this video, basically. I mean, obviously I'm not a big Gunpla person, so maybe like there's other channels that have similar vibes, but this just was just like, I imagine for a Gunpla fan, and if you also happen to be a fan of Adam Savage or Mythbusters or something, this was just like, yes, you fucking get it. Yes. And it's just, I imagine it's insane validation. I was vicarious validation through it, to be honest with you, of him just really appreciating and loving and respecting these things. It was also, it's similar to like his TED Talk about cosplay, that it's just like, yes, you get it. You know what I mean? Or just, I never thought of it that way, or never put it into words that way, because he's a really sharp, intelligent, and like articulate person. You know, he's able to really convey what he's thinking. Off all of it, it's not very scripted and stuff, and it's just like able to really get it across to you in an engaging way. You can tell he's been on television before. Yeah, man, I just freaking loved this. It was so sick. Yeah, loved it. Favorite video. Yes, and that'll do it for this installment of AniTube Digest. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to my patrons, which I will say that I'm going to be updating the Patreon a little bit, trying to streamline it, have less tiers, and consolidating certain things. I haven't quite figured it out yet. So this is going to be based off the current, as the Patreon has been for a long time. Thank you to my patrons: Austin, Boo, Kuiper, My Anime Pod, Najbeb, Nicholas, Saxon, Unique Nemosaurus, Victor, and Yellow Cheese. You guys are great. You have a great week. Yo, peace.